Welcome back, race fans, to the Metro Ford Cup Series here at the Old Bashers Racing League. Today, we're at the virtual Richmond Raceway. Going to be an interesting one as we try and make our way around the 0.72-mile racetrack. And as always, my name's James East. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bring the action to ADP 60 frames a second. As right now, single car qualifying is underway. Looks like Thompson in the top spot. He's got a 22.55 to his name. Let's see who else is out on track. Looks like Dwayne McCarthy, the 83, going out for a late qualifying. Michael Watts also out on track. A very large portion of the field, though, has not yet put down a qualifying time here today. It's going to be interesting to see what the grid looks like for this one. As always, thank you to our fans, friends, and family for tuning in, supporting the broadcast, supporting the league, and supporting your favorite drivers. Let us know who you're cheering on, where you're from. As we definitely notice up here in the broadcast booth, the drivers always appreciate it as well. Let's see what MacArthur does in his final timed lap. And he will take over pole position, a 22.52, edging out Thompson by 0.04 of a second. Patrick Milligan, the number 18 machine, also making his way out. Tom Ogle out on track. 8 drivers have put down qualifying times thus far. Looks like about 10 have yet to put down a time, though. Milligan quickly hops up into 5th, a 22.7. Looks like Dan Hill also rolling out in the number 10 MXPX back Chevrolet. And Milligan still holding on to the 5th place spot, a 22.63. But look at this, Tom Ogle has taken over pole position, a 22.42. Blistering fast in the number 11 White Claw Racing Machine. Greg McDaniel, the number 30, going to see what he can do here as qualifying starts to click off the time. We got Maggie joining us in the spectator area as well, supporting the broadcaster. Daniel hops up to 12th. He needs to find a little bit of time here to get to a 22.42 if he wants to battle for the top. We've also got Dan Hill, the 22.44. McDaniel going to be about 0.2 off the pace. That's going to be good enough for 8th place. And with about 40 seconds left in qualifying, looks like Lee Warsdale is going to be the last driver out on track to try and put down a qualifying time here. Gonna be close here. His opening lap of 22.94. Absolutely no room for mistakes. And Warsdale will just slightly move up a 22.86. And that should do it for our qualifying here at Richmond. As we get ready for 200 laps here tonight. And let's go ahead and run it through the starting lineup. Starting on pole, Tom Ogle in the number 11 machine. Dan Hill starting second. Wayne MacArthur starts third. Steve Thompson starting fourth. Dakota Pischke starting fifth. Patrick Milligan starts sixth. Michael Watt starting seventh. Greg McDaniel starts eighth. Brian Glass starting ninth. John Hinchcliffe starting 10th. Eddie Jones starts 11th. Lee Warsdale starting 12th. Cycling it back to Mike Schrader starting 13th. Ken Huff starts 14th. Lloyd Moore starting 15th. Al Turner starting 16th. Don Hastings starts 17th. Brian Lindsay starting 18th. Donnie Jackson starting 19th. And Joe Nelson will round out the 20-car grid here today. 200 laps for our competitors. That should put it just about an hour and 15 minutes of race time here today. As we get rolling behind the iRacing safety car. And as always, thank you to our title sponsor, eMetroFord.com. Coming on board this season, looking for a new or used Ford vehicle or wanting to custom order your own, check them out, eMetroFord.com. We've also got Victor Lane Sports on board, Kimball.net, as well as Dr. Amy, the thyroid fixer. A major thanks to all these sponsors that help keep things going each and every week. As we roll behind that iRacing safety car. Gonna do 2 laps of pacing before we get the field ready to rock. And I believe pace car should be coming in this time by. Let's see what Ogle and Hill on the front row are going to do. Ogle, the inside line, the number 11. Sporting a new white claw painted number 11 Ford Mustang. Dan Hill on the high line in the number 10 Chevrolet. Pace car is coming down pit road. Green flag is out, and away we go here at the Metro Ford Cup Series. Dan Hill trying something on the outside line. Ogle still down low. Meanwhile, looks like MacArthur and Thompson. Almost sounded like we heard some downshift there. As we try and get things caught up here in the broadcast booth, it's still Ogle, Hill, MacArthur. 1, 2, 3. Thompson running fourth. And this is where Ogle is most dangerous here at the Metro Ford Cup Series, able to stretch his legs. We've got big problems up here in the booth, trying to get that corrected for everybody. Gonna have to kill the YouTube chat on my side, so we'll pull that up on Ogle. And I think that's going to help us out drastically, as Ogle out front is where he is most dangerous, able to get clean track ahead of him, no air on the, or dirty air on the front of that number 11 machine, and just keep his head down, clicking off laps. Already we've had a couple of people able to move up a little bit. Brian Lindsay, the number 24 machine, up 2 spots from where he qualified tonight. Now, a little interesting to see the smaller grid out here tonight at Richmond. Not sure if it's not a driver's track. I've heard reports that school's starting back up for a lot of the drivers' children. I would take a safe gamble that most of these drivers no longer in school, since this is a 35 and up league. As there's Mike Schrader, the number 4 machine, had some sort of bobble on the outside line. He's going to lose 4 spots total, falling back to 17. That's going to allow Huff, Moore, Hastings, Lindsay to move a little bit higher up inside the top 20. And it looks like that's going to be a battle with Al Turner, Johnny Jackson, and Joe Nelson. Jackson and Nelson, 2 of our rookie drivers here at the Metro Ford Cup Series. That'll be signified by the 3-digit paint. Johnny Jackson on screen to the right side, the 109 Toyota. Joe Nelson, another newcomer to the league, the 106 machine, currently sitting 20th. Now these drivers will have to do a certain amount of races to earn their double-digit number, signifying that they can qualify with the big dogs here at the Metro Ford Cup Series. Handing back up front, it's still Ogle and Hill. They have a very slight breakaway of about a half second over Dwayne MacArthur's 83 machine. Now, talking to the drivers in practice, listening to some of their notes back and forth with crew chiefs, this should possibly be a long fuel run. I believe it was Thompson in the number 67 Toyota was saying, hey, I did about 120 some odd laps, did a little bit of fuel saving at the beginning of the run, and just wanted to see how far I could stretch it out for. So something we're going to definitely have to keep an eye on. As Ogle just clicking off laps, making it look easy here. Ogle, in the races I've called in the last, I'd say, couple of years here at the Metro Ford Cup Series, keeps getting progressively faster as the season goes on. And to Dan Hill's credit, staying right there with that number 11 machine. Both drivers running almost identical lap times here. Neither one really gaining too much time, or in the case of Ogle, losing too much time. And almost like Dan Hill's closing the gap, still at a quarter of a second behind that number 11 machine. Now coming into tonight, Dwayne MacArthur, still your points leader here. He's got a 4-point advantage over Eddie Jones. Jones currently 10th out on track. But keep an eye out on Tom Ogle, that current race leader. He is trying to slowly close that gap to MacArthur. Ogle about 99 points, no, excuse me, 103 points behind your race championship leader, Dwayne MacArthur. MacArthur has 5 wins. Ogle has 3 wins to his name. And And it looks like behind Wayne MacArthur and Steve Thompson, the field bunched up ever so slightly. You've got Dakota Pischke, Michael Watts, Patrick Milligan all in this mix. As the pace is already starting to drop, the fastest lap times of the night were at 22 into 22.7s. Right now they're all in about the 23.2 range, so about a half second slower as the tire has fallen off of these drivers. And this could very much be a tire management race. Now if, and that's a big if, this does become a tire management race, it's going to be around that lap 50 to 75 mark. I predict you're going to see drivers starting to have a little bit of issues, starting to push that front end. And the walls can come up on you rather quickly at Richmond. And I believe this is one of those tracks in the Next Gen Cup cars that as the run progresses, you might hear drivers doing a little bit of shifting throughout some of the corners. You can get our usual pre-race brief notes as we have in the past. But I feel fairly confident all the races I've called here that could be an option. Right now we're watching Lee Warsdale trying to fend off Ken Huff and Lloyd Moore. This will be the 3-car battle for 12th. All three drivers separated by less than 0.4 of a second. Looks like Moore trying to find a way around Ken Huff's 46 machine. It just seems like it's extremely tough for these drivers to make any big moves in the Olympics here. Go on board with Lloyd Moore's number 26 machine. That is Ken Huff in the 46 right in front. You can also see Lee Warsdale, John Hinchcliffe, Brian Glass, and a nice tidy pack. And watching the dash of Lloyd Moore's Chevrolet, it looks like he's one of those drivers happy leaving it in fifth, at least for the time being here. As the field's starting to bunch up, this is 10th through, looks to be 14th, in a fairly tight pack. Up ahead, you can see the 2-car pack. I think that's going to be Brian Glass. No, excuse me, that's going to be Eddie Jones, I think, leading that pack. Brian Glass ahead of leading the top 10 here, just inside the top 10. And ahead of him, that's Greg McDaniel and Eddie Jones having their own battle for 8th. Now, barring the cautions that we may see here today, this is looking to be a tire-saving event. As we focus in on Greg McDaniel, Eddie Jones. Jones with the big lunge up the inside line, the number 14 machine. What great timing that camera angle was as he takes over the 8th place spot from McDaniel. But Eddie Jones is going to have a 2-second disadvantage if he wants to catch up to Patrick Milligan's number 18 machine. Jones looks like he's our current hard charger, up 3 positions. And we did get a report Mike Schrader, the number 4 machine, has put it back to virtual hauler early on. He is done and out for the evening. As Lloyd Moore in the 26 catches up very quickly to Warsdale's 99 machine, stalls the run ever so slightly. But Moore must be feeling good here as he is starting to slowly pick off some drivers in front of him. Made his way around Ken Huff's 46, and look at that, Moore's going for another one, getting around Warsdale. And charging forward once more. So this is where the tire savings coming into effect for different drivers. He who saves early is faster later in the run. A little bit further back up front, you've got Dwayne MacArthur with Steve Thompson, Dakota Pischke linked up right behind him, a half second separating the 3rd through 5th place drivers. And all 3 of these drivers run within a couple of hundredths of a second of each other that last time by, 33 laps in. And I do wonder, is Richmond one of those tracks you can work together with to try and reel in a lead pack, or is the clean air that's on the front of Tom Ogle's number 11 machine just so valuable to keep the car a little bit more free and not having to worry about premature tire wear when you've got no dirty air on the front of your car? Thompson looks to be content tucking in behind MacArthur here and not trying to get out of line too much, searching for clean air. So right now it must be feeling fairly well for that 67 Toyota tucked in behind MacArthur's 83 Chevrolet. A little bit further back, things are getting dicey. Brian Lindsay, Ken Huff, Al Turner putting on a show for 15. That's John Hastings in the tied back 32 just ahead. Lindsay is now up 3 positions. And what's going on here? MacArthur, did he have a bobble? Loses the spot to Thompson. Take a quick look, see what happened there. Almost as if MacArthur just kind of let him by there, so I wonder if there's a little bit of team strategy going on. Taking turns. So MacArthur will lose 1 spot overall, now falling back to 4th as Thompson takes over the 3rd place spot. I almost wonder if maybe it's a little bit of a fuel-saving call among Steve Thompson and Dwayne MacArthur, taking turns being the first car to push all that air. As Thompson pulls about a 4/10 second advantage. Let's pan back a little bit further once more, though, to John Hastings, Al Turner, Brian Lindsay still able to stay linked up, nose to tail, 14th, 15th, and 16th out on track, 41 laps into this main event. Now we already know Hastings is up 3 spots and still trying to make some moves. And last time by, again, these three drivers all within 0.03 of a second of each other as far as lap times go. All right, there we go. Now, I think Turner, one of those drivers who's kind of playing around with the idea of grabbing some downshifts. I heard it out of the 76 machine. There's somebody getting very loose in front of Turner. Is that maybe Warsdale 99? Yeah, Warsdale has a big moment. But Turner not grabbing a fourth gear downshift like I thought, just heavily blipping the throttle, trying to get it settled in. But Warsdale has problems because here comes Al Turner, that 76 machine. Doesn't look like Warsdale has any damage on the Miller High Life number 99. But it definitely looked like he got snapped loose just a lap prior ahead of Turner. So Turner's now up 3 spots. Warsdale falls back to 14. And while this has been going on, Tom Ogle, your race leader, has stretched that gap to 3.1 seconds over the rest of the field, consistently running just about 0.2 faster than everybody else out on track here today. Warsdale signals he's coming down pit road, so Warsdale has some sort of issues in that 99. I wonder if he knocked the toe out and tagged the wall or something. Not seeing any damage on the right side, maybe the front right. Tough to tell from that camera angle. But could just be not having any fun driving with those very worn-in tires. Just about 50 laps into this main event, and Tom Ogle, if we can stay green, is going to be the man to beat. On the list of drivers in pit road, Joe Nelson, the 106 machine, has retired 42 laps in. Again, Mike Schrader, he came around lap 10 to put it back in the hauler. It'll be interesting to see if Lee Warsdale makes it back out on track. Ken Huff takes the spot away from John Hastings in the 32, so this is where you can see drivers really fighting the cars, fighting the tires at this point in the run. For those that aren't quite as good at tire saving, going to make it a little bit tougher. I mean, we did get a report Lee Warsdale rolling back out of pit road, so he will return to the track. Johnny Jackson, the 109 machine, another rookie driver, he's coming down pit road. And up front, looks like Steve Thompson catching up to Dan Hill's number 10 machine. This will be the battle for second. As you can see, Dwayne MacArthur in the background, the 83 machine, Dakota Pischke rounding out our top 5. Johnny Jackson, the 109, getting back out on track. He'll be putting himself about 3 laps down at this point. Oh, here comes Thompson looking at the inside line of Hill. Hill with a big bobble, tags the outside wall. Thompson goes defensive on the inside. And Steve Thompson will take over the second place from the number 10 driver of Dan Hill. Dwayne MacArthur wanting to get up in this fray as well. Seems like one of those tracks you kind of got to count on your opponents to make a little bit of a mistake and then capitalize when the opportunity presents itself. As passing seems very difficult, especially at this point into the race. MacArthur looks very down low, hoping that Hill pushes wide here. And here we go, MacArthur to the inside line, going to try and take over the 3rd place spot. Dakota Pischke lagging just slightly behind the number 1, not able to follow MacArthur through there. Now MacArthur, I would predict, is going to get quickly on the gas to try and close the half-second gap that Steve Thompson maintains in the second place spot, number 67 machine. All the while, Ogle has extended that gap to 4.3 seconds up front. And yes, we get report Dakota Pischke is going to move up to fourth as well, so Dan Hill may have used up all the tires there. And here comes Michael Watts in the 84 machine. He's looking to get inside the top 5. There's Lee Warsdale's 99. He's going to be a lap down. Watts goes very low as Hill pushes high. And it looks like Watts, yes, will take over the 5th place spot from Dan Hill. Now MacArthur's actually lost a little bit of time here to Thompson. Now the gap's about 7/10 between the 2nd and 3rd place drivers. And I think MacArthur may have his hands full with Dakota Pischke's number 1 machine. MacArthur finding about a tenth and maybe a half on Thompson. That's a bit of a yo-yo back and forth. MacArthur gains a little, loses a little. Rinse, wash, and repeat to the number 67 of Steve Thompson. Hard charger out on track is going to be Eddie Jones, the number 14 machine. He qualified 11th, has moved his way up into 7th so far tonight. It looks like Al Turner made a move on John Hinchcliffe for 12th. Hinchcliffe now has Brian Lindsay, number 24 machine, right behind him. It looks like Hinchcliffe really leaning on that back right tire. The Peerless Steel back number 8 Chevrolet. That's going to allow Brian Lindsay to close the gap in the 24. Let's see, does Lindsay take a lunge up the inside line? Yes, he does. So Lindsay's going to make it 5 spots gained so far, or will he? As Hinchcliffe fires back the number 8 machine. Hinchcliffe was able to carry just a little bit more speed. Lindsay tries to put the power down. He's going to get it that time going into turn 1, or I guess I should say out of turn 4. And I realize we're only a quarter of the way through today's main event, but my big question is, can Tom Ogle be stopped in that number 11 machine? 4.9 seconds up over Steve Thompson. Ogle, no stranger to tricky tracks, driver's tracks I like to call them. His last win was July 17th at New Hampshire. He also won at Nashville Super Speedway, Martinsville. But not exactly easy to drive tracks by any stretch of the imagination, so Ogle maybe the Richmond king, while Steve Thompson kind of the undisputed king of Pocono. And still, not many green flag stops out of these drivers. Johnny Jackson, Lee Warsdale. The only 2 drivers out on track that have come down pit road thus far. Both drivers, I believe, are getting a little bit damage repaired during those stops as well. So no full planned stops that have occurred as of yet. little bit further back, I think I see something shaking up. Yes, Brian Glass, Brian Lindsay battling for the 12th place spot. Looks like Lindsay able to make that pass and facilitate it very quickly out of that number 24 machine. John Hastings, the 32, is going to come down pit road on lap 69. But with how green this race has been so far, it's going to be interesting to see how pit strategy could play a factor here. Eddie Jones has picked up a spot from Dan Hill's number 10 machine. Unfortunately, Hill's still falling back as run progresses. Don Hinchcliffe in pit road as well. Did Hill miss a shift there? I wonder if Hill was getting set up to come down pit road and missed the mark as Milligan works his way around. Still have 18 drivers out on track out of the 20 that entered here today. Let's see if Hill's getting ready to come down through. I think he is. So Hill, after missing pit road the lap prior, may have gotten a penalty there. We'll start to see some green flag pit stops here around the lap 72 mark of the Metro Ford Cup Series event at Richmond Raceway. And Dakota Pischke staying right there with Wayne MacArthur. Greg McDaniel also down pit road for a green flag stop. And the live timing and scoring tower on the left side of your screen so you can see where your favorite driver is during these green flag stops. Now Dakota Pischke only up one spot, but sitting good here in fourth. Has a podium position within striking distance. Here comes the 109. That's going to be Johnny Jackson's all-white Toyota trying to get a lap back as Dan Hill, the number 10 with fresh tires, clicks off the fastest lap of the race, a 22.66, excuse me. Well, it looks like Dan Hill, that number 10 machine, has absolutely fantastic short run pace. But may seem to be struggling a little bit in the longer runs. The number 8 machine of John Hinchcliffe, after his lap 69 pit stop, trying to work his way around Pischke, using those new tires to his advantage. The 109 of Jackson may follow suit, but as a triple-digit driver, he may opt to just play it safe here, knowing the top 10 drivers have yet to come down pit road. And the big question is, how long will these guys go for? Are they going to try and make this a one-stop race, barring any cautions? Because it seems like a large portion of the field setting it up for a two-stop strategy. And MacArthur and Pischke still staying linked up nose to tail, but I think Johnny Jackson, that newcomer in the 109, in a good spot here. He's able to follow two very fast, very consistent drivers. Granted, he is a couple of laps down here, but if he can just kind of see what these guys are doing, take some notes, that's going to really help him out later on into his season. As still, the top 10 drivers have yet to come down pit road. what I am thinking will be their one scheduled stop of the night. I think all these guys will be on a one-stop strategy. Now, I'm sure as history has proven itself time and time again, as soon as I say that in the broadcast booth, they'll switch it up and do something wildly different. As Tom Ogle out front of Steve Thompson in second. A 5.15 second advantage for that White Claw back Ford Mustang. And all eyes right now on Dwayne MacArthur, Dakota Pischke. Now, these two guys are about 1.3 seconds, 1.1 seconds back from Steve Thompson. No, excuse me, well, yeah, 1.3 seconds back from Thompson in second. As the 109 of Jackson darts to the outside line, looking for a easy spot to try and get through the drivers on their original sets of tires. Not quite finding the opening he's looking for. Now, this is the point of the race where things get a little bit exciting and a little bit dangerous for drivers. The vortex of danger. I saw Brian Glass's 87 machine trying to work his way around everybody with older tires. Glass came down the road on lap 73. He's saying, hey, I don't got time to waste here. I've got John Hastings about a half second behind me. As we briefly hint at 3 wide action, there's Dan Hill, the number 10 machine. He's a lap ahead of Glass. So Pischke opts to live to fight another day. It's our good friend Dakota Grandpa Pischke. I believe a newly promoted to grandfather status. So congratulations to him and the Pischke family. But he opts to help facilitate these passes for drivers with fresher tires underneath them. Not wanting to risk tangling that number 1 machine up and having to go home early. And with this traffic slowing things down for these lead lap cars, MacArthur and Pischke now have Michael Watson and Eddie Jones closing the gap. You can see the bright blue 84 machine of Watson in the background. Jones running the trademark orange and white, number 14. The field fairly bunched up here, 3rd through 6th. MacArthur, Pischke, Watts, Jones, all in a nice tidy pack, separated by less than a second. And again, these Titans have not come down pit road. Nobody inside the top 10 has come down pit road, so really showing off that they have some tire management. But as I say that, Tom Ogle, your race leader, comes down pit road 89 laps into this main event. Steve Thompson stays out in the 67 machine, and it looks like everybody else will do the same. So Ogle off strategy, the number 11 machine. Boyd Moore also going to join him on pit road. So things are shaking up, not quite able to make it to the halfway mark they were looking for. That will put Mr. Steve Thompson as your race leader in the 67 machine. And Thompson comes down pit road. Will MacArthur follow suit? Yes, he will. Eddie Jones stays out in the 14 machine. He will get a lap led. So how's this going to shape up? Was Ogle the first driver to realize, hey, I can't make it on a one-stop strategy. Let's try something a little bit different. As Eddie Jones, Patrick Milligan, Al Turner, Brian Lindsay, and Ken Huff, the only drivers who have yet to come down pit road. Dan Hill moves back up to 4th after a lap 71 pit stop. Ogle will find himself a lap down after leading the opening 90 some odd laps here at Richmond. And there goes Ogle, number 11 machine. He's going to get his lap back, rejoin the lead lap pack after his lap 89 pit stop. Now this will be very interesting. So if drivers are able to do about 90 laps on fuel, that'll put them 10, 20 laps short at the end of this thing. Maybe Jones can pull off something wild here on strategy. He's got to make it 6 more laps to get to that, 5 more laps to get to the halfway mark. Let's see, Jones, a fairly fantastic strategist. And so far, not showing any signs he's coming down pit road. Now, we did get a report that Al Turner had an incident. Oh, caution is going to come out here as Turner brings out the yellow midway through the pit cycles. And he's got all sorts of connection issues. Let's see if we can get a replay with that. What happened to Turner the 76? Up too much apron? And around he goes. And that will bring out the first caution of the night. And Eddie Jones may be looking good here. The only people who had yet to come down pit road were Ken Huff, Al Turner, who brought out the caution, Patrick Milligan, who's sitting in 3rd, and Eddie Jones sitting in 1st. Jones is going to come down pit road. Looks like Hill's going to stay out. No, Hill's going to follow suit as well. So Tom Ogle, who put in so much work in the opening half of this race, will find himself a little bit further back, just inside the top 5. We'll see how it shakes out here. Jones will get back out on track. Wait a second. How did that happen? Steve Thompson showing as your race leader now in the 67. Looks like Jones is going to get out of pit road in time. So that will put Jones in. Now something must have happened there. Thompson checks up, gives it back to Jones. Jones will be on the front row accompanied by Steve Thompson for this first restart of the night. Looks like it's going to be Dan Hill, Tom Ogle, your 2nd row, Patrick Milligan, Greg McDaniel, your 3rd row. A little perplexed. Is Thompson coming down pit road? Yes, he is. What happened to Thompson there in the 67? Now, I didn't see any reports of a pit road violation. just a late pit stop? Yeah, the car goes up. Wonder maybe a strategy to try and get a bonus point for leading lap. I'm not entirely sure. Let's see if Thompson gets back out there. There he goes. Has a little bit of, almost sounds like an overcooked clutch, but gets back out there. So now it's going to be Jones and Hill the front row. Ogle, Milligan, your second row. McDaniel, Hinchcliffe, your third row. Wayne MacArthur, your points leader. He'll be starting 9th for this one. So we think if this goes green, which is always a big maybe, as cautions breed cautions, some drivers such as Jones may be able to go to the end on fuel here. Here we go once more. Let's see, do cautions breed cautions? We know Hill has excellent short run pace. And Eddie Jones, the long run driver. Looks like he wants to throw it up the inside line into one. Will do exactly that. Tom Ogle will follow suit to number 11. I don't expect Jones to, Jones tagged the outside wall though. I was gonna say, I don't expect Jones to push too hard too early on, especially if he's gonna try and make it to the end of this thing without having to come back down pit road. It seems like some of the other drivers are a little bit nervous about it. And then could have been gifted a little bit of luck there with the caution. And now Dan Hill's going to try and fend off Tom Ogle's number 11 machine. Ogle takes over the race lead from Hill. Jones still right there with him. There's John Hinchcliffe, number 8 machine, has worked his way up to 4th. Let's take a look. Right now it's going to be Eddie Jones. So in 3rd place, your hard charger of the night, number 14 machine. He is up 8 positions after a rough go in qualifying and a fantastic opening fuel run, really stretching the limit on that tank. And he's going to try and get around Dan Hill's number 10 machine if the opportunity presents itself. It looks like that opportunity tantalizingly close for Jones. As it stands, 13 drivers on the lead lap. 18 of the 20 still out on track, rocking and rolling here. A little bit further back, looks like Steve Thompson's made a move on Greg McDaniel for 6. Thompson's gonna have to crawl his way back up towards the front. He's about 6.5 tenths behind Patrick Milligan's number 18 machine. 90 laps left to go. And let's pan back to this battle for second. Once everything acts nicely for us. as we hiccup and jerk ourselves back to better calling. Brian Glass has come down pit road in the 87 machine. Dan Hill still trying to fend off Eddie Jones in the battle for third. Right now, your top five separated by about less than a second. It's Ogle, Hill, Jones, Hinchcliffe, Milligan, your current top five. And Eddie Jones looks antsy to get around that number 10 machine of Hill. On board the Eddie Jones number 14 machine, Last Ditch Racing. Flipping that throttle, getting slowed down behind Hill. Still though, not seeing many drivers grabbing downshifts like we were expecting early on in today's main event. I guess my other question is Jones going to try and make a move on Dan Hill? He did quite a bit of fuel saving in the opening half of the race. Is he gonna maybe try it once more? Now, barring any issues out on track, should be about 30 minutes left to go in this main event. The Jones, a wily veteran here at the Metro Ford Cup Series, knows what it's going to take to stay up front. It looks like there's a little bit of breathing room developed between Dan Hill and Eddie Jones. Now about a half second. John Hinchcliffe, the number 8, trying to close the gap to Jones. It's down to 0.4 of a second. You can see Steve Thompson rounding out the top 5 in the number 67 machine. It also looks to me like Dan Hill has closed the gap slightly to Tom Ogle, down to 0.3 of a second. Is Ogle playing it safe to make sure he's going to have the fuel at the end of this main event to make it to the start-finish line? Still 0.3 the gap between Tom Ogle, your race leader, Dan Hill running in second. Early on tonight, Ogle had up to a 5-second advantage over the course of the run before that late, I guess it may be a mid-race caution, brought the field back together. We know Hill has very fantastic short run pace. The question is, will that number 10 have the long run speed he needs to track down Ogle? A little bit further back, John Hinchcliffe, Patrick Milligan linked up behind Steve Thompson. And what could be a 3-car battle for 4th. Thompson's been very quick over this run, gaining those positions slowly back up towards the front. But if we go green, will Thompson use up a little bit too much tire here? It's going to be tough to tell. Thompson about 1.1 seconds back from Eddie Jones. The number 14 machine sitting in 3rd. Thompson qualified 4th, currently running 4th out on track. As it looks like Patrick Milligan going to take a big lunge at the inside line of Hinchcliffe, taking over that 5th place position. Milligan in the Metro Ford back number 18 machine. Quickly putting up a little bit over 3/10 of a gap on Hinchcliffe. Hinchcliffe's going to try and fire back, not letting that number 18 machine get too far ahead. And Hinchcliffe having a very positive night overall as well. He's up 4 spots, qualified 10th, now running 6th out on track after Milligan has made the pass. Eddie Jones remains your hard charger, sitting in 3rd, up 8 spots. Steve Thompson in 4th has closed the gap, though, to Jones to about 0.8 of a second. Jones right about 0.6 behind Dan Hill's number 10 machine. As Dan Hill remains about 0.6 behind Tom Ogle, so about 1.2 seconds separating your top 3. You can see Hill starting to pop into the frame a little bit more often, as well as Steve Thompson trying to close the gap and get himself into a podium contention. And things are starting to tighten up here with the top 4. Everybody's about a half second or closer amongst each other. Ogle still out front, a half second over Dan Hill. Hill 0.6 over Jones. Jones a half second over Thompson. Do these 4 drivers have a bit of a breakaway? They're about that's about a second and a half above 5th place, ahead of 5th place Patrick Milligan. And I think Hill's going to do everything he can here to close the gap to Ogle. Drivers a little bit shy of a second off their fastest laps of the night. And Dan Hill, that number 10 machine, he has the fastest lap to his name, a 22.66. Last time by, though, he was about a 10th off the pace of Ogle. A nice wide angle shot. That's Ogle, Hill, Jones, Thompson. 1st through 4th, you can see Milligan in the background running 5th out on track. He's kind of in no man's land, clean air in front and behind him here at Richmond. Dakota Pischke running 10th, closing the gap to Dwayne MacArthur's 83 machine. This will be the battle for 9th. Now MacArthur and Pischke came in both on lap 91, I believe. Opted not to come down pit road during the caution right at the halfway mark, so I wonder if that's biting these 2 drivers a little bit, as they will be very close on fuel and 10-lap older tires in a large portion of the field. Dan Hill still sitting in a very solid 2nd place, but here comes Eddie Jones, the number 14 machine, trying to work his way a little bit higher inside the podium. Let's see, here comes Jones. Not quite able to make it happen yet. Now Jones, whenever he takes that big lunge at Hill, if he does not make it happen, that's allowing Steve Thompson in fourth to close the gap down to 0.4 of a second and closing quick. So that may be a good reminder to Jones if he's not able to make those passes, or he needs to make those passes happen. Otherwise, you've got guys like Thompson that are willing to capitalize on the moment and try and steal that podium spot away from number 14 machine. John Hastings is back down pit road. Here comes Thompson, closing the gap now down to 0.3 of a second between himself and third place driver Jones. Jones has closed the gap back down to Hill to around 0.4 after he made an effort of taking him to second place spot, not able to capitalize on it. Top three drivers all on the exact same tire strategy. Steve Thompson in fourth came back down pit road on lap 100, took 4 fresh Goodyears and a tank of gas. It'll be interesting to see just how more helpful 2-lap newer tires can be here. Thompson has a little bit of lap traffic working around. I think that's 70. No, that's Ken Huff, the 46. No, I'm mistaken. That is the 32 of John Hastings, trying to work his way back to the lead lap. He came down the road on lap 136. A very alternative strategy, worked his way around Dan Hill. Now Ogle will have the number 32 machine of Hastings, I would imagine, blitzing by. Got fresh tires underneath them. Plenty of time to run wide open till the checkers if we do go green to try and get those laps back. But a green flag stop here at Richmond can very quickly put you 2 or 3 laps down. And it looks like the top 4 starting to bunch back up together after Hastings has blitzed through these drivers, using those 4 fresh tires to his advantage. Thompson has caught up to Eddie Jones. One driver, I think it's the 109 of Jackson. Yes, it is, allowing these lead lap cars by as quickly as he can. So well done to him, knowing that the other drivers were coming up and coming fast. And Jones and Thompson linked up here in the battle for third. They are about 0.6 behind Dan Hill. Hill about 3/4 of a second behind Ogle. Everybody running 24:05s last time by. So almost identical on pace here. Is Thompson going to try and make a move against Jones, or just play it safe, tucked in behind that 14 machine? He's got a couple of extra laps of fuel that he can use if he needs to. And John Hinchcliffe, the number 8 machine, comes down pit road. What I believe will be his 3rd stop of the night. And Hinchcliffe will fall all the way back to 11th here. Wayne MacArthur makes a move on Greg McDaniel. Here comes the 76 machine of Turner. Looks like he's going to try and get his lap back with the number 30 machine. And you've also got Michael Watts, Dakota Pischke, running 8th and 9th. They've got the pace to be here at the end. 49 laps left to go in Richmond. A large portion of the field coming around that lap 70 mark. It's going to be interesting to see how the fuel run shakes itself out here. As we're back out front with Tom Ogle, he's got about a 9-10 advantage over Hill, but the top 5 really starting to bunch up here. It is a 2.7 second gap from Ogle in first to Milligan in 5th, but that number has been decreasing over the last few laps. Now really we've got great battles all across the track. Greg McDaniel 6/10 ahead of Michael Watts, but trying to track down Dwayne MacArthur. We've also got Watts and Pischke linked up. Here comes Pischke, a big lunge on the inside line of Watts. Side by side they go, the battle for 8th. Pischke taking over the 8th place spot, edging out Michael Watts in the 84 machine. More drivers down pit road, Kent Huff, Johnny Jackson, Lee Horsdale. Thompson closing the gap to Eddie Jones. Milligan following Thompson here. Ogle has stretched that lead to 1.3 seconds ahead of Dan Hill. Hill's been out on track for a little bit over 50 laps. $60 laps, excuse me. So is this the point where we're going to start seeing some rapid tire drop-off? Let's pan back to Dakota Pischke. He's got something going on as he's battling with Greg McDaniel. Pischke feeling good here late in the run, making his moves. Now, he hasn't been down pit road since lap 91, a green flag stop. On about 10 lap older tires and a large portion of the field, the number 1 machine still feeling good with those good years underneath them. Thompson again has the gap to 3rd place with less than 0.2 of a second. Now we know Jones is extremely good on the long runs here at Richmond. Was not too worried about fuel in the opening half of the race, but here comes Thompson, the inside lunge. Will Jones be able to fire back? No, Thompson has a little bit more tires underneath him, secures the 3rd place spot to be 1 spot gain from where he qualified. And with 39 laps left to go, is Thompson going to try and put the hammer down and close up the Dan Hill? Or is he counting on his tire management prowess to maybe help him crawl up 1 more spot? Now, Ogle up front. If this thing goes green, it's going to be very tough to beat. He's been the dominant car here, the number 11. Ray McDaniel down pit road, as well as Lee Warsdell in the 99 machine. Milligan seeing if he can catch up to Jones's number 14. Now we go about 8 seconds back to Dwayne MacArthur. He's got Dakota Pischke's number 1 machine breathing down the neck of the 83, but Pischke looks like he has some sort of connection issues here. Some big blinks out of that number 1. Now MacArthur is down 3 spots where he started. Pischke down 2 positions. Right now, everybody just kind of settling in. Tom Ogle still your race leader. The White Claw back, number 11 Ford Mustang, not having any issues. Definitely the dominant car here this evening. He's got a 1.6 second advantage over Hill, and tonight could be an excellent points night for Ogle, as he's got both points leaders, Wayne MacArthur and Eddie Jones, behind him by 3 or 4 or even 5 positions. So Ogle may be able to capitalize on a whole lot of points here at Richmond. And that's a big if, it's always a big if we can keep this thing charging forward. We've seen late race cautions throw a wrench into plans many a times. And now we've got a battle for second shaping up. Dan Hill all of a sudden had Steve Thompson right off that back bumper as the number 8 machine of John Hinchcliffe trying to work his way back on the lead lap, but here comes Thompson's number 67 machine. Ooh, Thompson had to check up heavily there to avoid getting to the back of Hill. Thompson looking for an opening. About a tenth separating the 2 drivers. Thompson to the inside line. Hill goes wide. And it looks like Steve Thompson will take over the second place spot, quickly putting about 2 tenths on to Hill's number 10 machine. And all the while, Ogle up front just enjoying the clean air. Now it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Hill slowly falling back here late in the run with the tires pretty much cooked underneath him. He's got a 1.5 second advantage over Jones. But 27 laps, can Hill maybe hold on to it here and get a podium? That's what Ogle wants to see, is more drivers between himself and Eddie Jones and Dwayne MacArthur, so he can maximize the points here today. Now will Steve Thompson, who's worked his way back up in the second, have anything for Tom Ogle? Ogle is 1.8 seconds ahead. I'm looking forward to getting the lap time update the next time these guys cross the checkered line, because Thompson for certain pulling a gap over Hill. Looks like Thompson running a little bit more than a tenth of a lap faster than Tom Ogle that last time by. If all things remain equal with 26 laps left to go, if Thompson can keep chipping away a 10th here, a 10th there, he may be able to catch back up to that number 11 machine of Ogle and challenge for the lead. As the top 5 barely stretched out at this point. Ogle last time by a 22.71, Thompson a 22.76. Ogle actually increasing the gap slightly to about 1.9 seconds. Very briefly, got live time pulled up the left side of your screen so you can see where your favorite driver is rather quickly. Oh, this is going to be interesting to see that gap hovering anywhere between 1 3/4 and 2 seconds between Tom Ogle and Steve Thompson. Also looks like Patrick Milligan closing the gap to Eddie Jones and the number 14 machine. Jones running 4th out on track, Milligan running 5th. And we've also got a battle going on. Michael Watts, John Hinchcliffe going back and forth for 8th. Hinchcliffe in the all black number 8 Chevrolet. Watts predominantly blue 84 Ford Mustang. And it also looks like Dwayne MacArthur is going to have company in the 6th place spot. He's got Dakota Pischke. Again, both of these drivers running 6th and 7th opted not to come back down pit road after the lap 91 stop. They had a caution just 7 or 8 laps later. And I do wonder if this is a decision they are coming to regret. Not quite being on the same playing field with 10-lap older tires compared to the top 5. Everybody else in the top 5 came back on pit road on lap 98. Steve Thompson came in again on lap 100 to give himself the best odds in the final half of today's main event. 17 laps left to go here at Richmond. It's Ogle, Thompson, Hill, your current top 3, with Jones and Milligan rounding out the top 5. And the big question everybody's afraid to ask, will we see a late race caution throw any wrenches in the plans of Ogle? Unfortunately, we've seen it happen that number 11 machine before, where he works so extremely well throughout the race, dominating on long green flag runs, and then with 10, 15 to go, everything thrown into a blender as a caution comes out. So hopefully that will not be the case here tonight for the likes of Tom Ogle's number 11 machine. We've got 10 drivers out on the lead lap, 15 remaining out of the 20 that started. Ken Huff, Lee Warsdale, Brian Glass, Joe Nelson, Mike Schrader. The short list of drivers who were forced to retire early and go back to their virtual hauler. Your hard charger still going to be Eddie Jones, the number 14 machine, up 7 spots. It was as high as 8 or 9 at one point, I believe. Ogle holding about a second advantage over Thompson. Looks like he's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him. I think that may be Lloyd Moore, the 26 machine. Looked like a lot of smoke there through 3 and 4. Not sure where that was from, as we didn't get a report on it here in the broadcast booth. Greg McDaniel in the number 30 looking to get a lap back, while Moore goes a lap down. Ooh, Ogle with a bit of a swap there. That car was pretty unhappy with that sudden change of movement. That's allowing Thompson in second to gain 2/10, but Thompson's going to have to go through the same traffic that Ogle has. There's McDaniel in the Kimball.net, number 30 Chevrolet, fighting to get a lap back here to get back on the lead lap. McDaniel able to do it nice and clean, but while this has been going on, Steve Thompson's rapidly closed the gap to 0.3 of a second behind Tom Ogle. A quarter of a second separating your top two. All of a sudden, Ogle has company from behind with the likes of Team Last Ditch Racing, Steve Thompson. At least I believe Thompson's still in Last Ditch Racing. Those guys change rosters rather much, and halftime I don't know if they're serious. Thompson looking to the inside lines, the battle for the lead side by side here at Richmond. Ogle on the high line, Thompson down low. It's still going to be Ogle at the line by 1/10 of a second, but it's a little bit of a cat and mouse game here. Are both drivers trying to force the other to use up a little bit more tire than they're comfortable with? With 8 laps left to go, I think this is just going to be a straight-up shootout till the end. We've seen Thompson use that front bumper. I believe it was against Ogle in the past. I'd be interested if that happens again. Ogle on the high line, Thompson diving it down low. It's Thompson, ooh, barely getting clear of Ogle there. That was so extremely close. Looked like both drivers were on the absolute ragged edge. And now Thompson, after that massive moment, will have a half-second advantage over Ogle. So now Steve Thompson leading the race when it matters the most with 5 laps left to go, still holding a half-second advantage over Ogle. Looks like one of the rookie drivers, the 109, Johnny Jackson, had to come back down pit road, a tow back to pit road. Must have had some sort of problem. And there's a whole lot of traffic ahead for Steve Thompson. The laps rapidly clicking off. 4 to go and 3:10 separating Thompson from Ogle. Will Ogle be able to fire back? He led just about every lap here tonight at Richmond. Thompson's not going to waste any time trying to get around traffic. That's Michael Watson, the 84 machine. Gains a little bit more time over Ogle. The gap now to 5/10, half a second to the favor of Tom Ogle. Now it's going to be a 2-car battle. If there's one to develop here at the end, as Dan Hill is about 5 seconds back. Hill has pressure from Patrick Milligan. And what will be the final shot at a podium position. White flag will be out this time by, and that'll mean no more cautions for the night. Here we go. White flag is out here at Richmond. I don't think Ogle's going to be within striking distance here. Checkered flag flies. Thompson makes his way through 3 and 4 for the final time. And Steve Thompson picking up the win here at Richmond. Steve Thompson, yet another win added, but Ogle's got to be happy, still finishing ahead of Eddie Jones and Dwayne MacArthur, so going to shake the points up a little bit. As we get our victory photos. Where's Tom Ogle? We've lost Tom Ogle. Thompson with a well-deserved victory. Burnout, smoking the tires in that Toyota. So we get drivers starting to make their way up into the waiting room. Looks like we're starting to get the drivers up here, making their way. Up first, we've got Dan Hill, the number 10 machine. Dan, a great race out there. Only lost one spot over the duration of the race, and hey, able to bring home a podium by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't complain today. You know, this track is so tough, and I really thought I was dead meat in the middle of the race there. I pitted early to try to get tires because I just really overdrove it the first part of the race, and you know, all of them had checked out, and you know, got lucky with the caution when it came out what it did. I was, you know, second at the time, and it ended up, you know, allowing me to get tires, and I did a little bit better job saving on that last run there.
Now, Dan, what makes it here at Richmond so tough on the tires? Because it definitely seemed like tire fall off was a major contributing factor to how these results panned out this evening.
Yeah, it's so hard because you're really tight going in and then you're loose exiting, and it's that balance of trying to not abuse the right front and also not abuse the right rear. And it's a tough track. It's hard to drive and hard to, you have to be really patient and learn to roll out of the throttle earlier than you really want to, and that's about the only way you can save. It's a tough track to drive.
Well, it seemed like it still worked out very well for you. Glad to see you develop that long run speed late into the race. And you're right, that caution, maybe a bit of reprieve for you. But hey, a great race all the way around. And Dan, before I let you go off and celebrate, who do you want to give a shout out to that helped make that third place possible for you?
Definitely want to give a shout out to my teammate John Hinchcliffe. You know, we bounce a lot of ideas back and forth, and and I can't help but think about my dad every day that I race. You know, he's fighting the good battle. So, I give a shout out to him and my mom. But yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Congratulations, and hope to have you back up here next week.
Thanks, buddy.
That was Dan Hill finishing it in a third place here today. Up next, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Tom Ogle, join us with his second place. Ogle, you were definitely one of the fastest cars, if not the fastest car out there tonight. Looked like things just kind of got a little bit wild. I think it was about 6 and 7 laps left to go, and we saw both you and Thompson kind of bouncing all across the raceway.
Yeah, I kind of used up my stuff with lap traffic and didn't save and then letting those guys go kind of hurt not my momentum, but you chop off 3/10, 4/10. Next thing you know, guys on you, and you just start running harder. And I kind of burnt my back tires off then. Steve did a good job of riding back there and saving.
Now, Tom, we've talked about it before in broadcast, especially when you're up here in the podium room, and it seems like in the past we've had those long green flag runs. The number 11 White Claw Ford, absolutely dominant, and then a late race caution throws a wrench in everything. Were you getting a little bit of anxiety during those runs that was going to happen again to you?
Actually, I kind of wanted a caution there because I was faster than everybody else on new tires, but as the tires got older, Steve kind of evened the gap. He would get like 2 seconds and he could stay right there. So I didn't know what he was saving in his pocket.
Yeah, well, still
I would have
also.
taken a caution.
So that's a little bit uncharacteristic from what we're used to with you. So interesting to see. And now, Tom, but more importantly, I guess, or the most importantly, a good points night for you, finishing ahead of Eddie Jones as well as Dwayne MacArthur. How do you think that's going to shake things up in the points championship getting late into the season?
I think like it'll probably be me, Dwayne, Steve, and probably Eddie in the final four. It usually works out unless one of us has bad luck. Those guys are tough. I kind of would like to maybe push them all back to fifth and on back.
Well, going to be very interesting to see, and always exciting to watch this up here in the booth. And Tom, before I let
And
you
Dan
sign,
Hill ran really good too. Dan maybe pushed me a little bit harder on that second run than I really wanted to go, if that makes sense.
yeah, no, 100% makes sense, especially when everybody's trying to save tires, that cat and mouse game of who's going to use up the rubber early on. So always very, very interesting to see. And Tom, always great seeing you up here, especially that long run dominant pace you've had in the past. And before I let you go, sign off and celebrate. Who you want to give a shout out to that helped bring home that second for you and the team?
Thank you guys. Thank the admins and stuff from the league. Thank my Miata teammates, even though they're no longer with us. And just thank you for doing a great job broadcasting.
Well, my pleasure as always, Tom. Great time talking to you, my friend.
Yep, you too. See ya.
And that was Tom Ogle bringing it home in the second place spot. But up next, the man of the hour, Steve Thompson, picking up yet another win here tonight. Doing it right at the end with about 6, 7 laps to go, making that pass to the lead. And hey, just adding to the stat sheet, aren't you?
Yeah, I had a good week. That was I swept here in the trucks, the Xfinity, and this car. I didn't think I had a chance against Ogle, but things just kind of played my way. We were pretty even on lap times, but that first run he had, I mean, we were screwed if the caution didn't come out.
Now, yeah, Steve, were you expecting? I mean, we've always seen in the past we get a long green flag run, and then we'll kind of see a caution throw a wrench in the plans. Were you expecting a mid-rate caution, or were you kind of thinking it was going to be coming out towards the end if we were going to get one?
I actually didn't. The way things were going, and we kind of had a light turnout. I didn't think there was going to be a caution, so I pitted. I think I pitted right after, like 2 laps after Tom did. I didn't think I was going to catch him anyways. And Watts actually pitted, I think, right before. He was like in fourth place, so that's why I went in. And then I got got caught during the caution, but I got lucky and was the first car lap down, so I got the lucky dog.
Ah, we were trying to figure that out here in the broadcast, but I wasn't sure if it was a. We've seen pit road problems strike before, and it was kind of an odd seeing you absolutely haul the mail out of the pit road and get back around. So, yeah, I wasn't quite sure what was happening there. So glad that you finally caught a pit road break on that one.
Yeah, I thought, oh, I'm lucky, dog. I missed the pit road the first time, and the second time it was open. I said, oh, I'm going in. At least I'll have, I'll have fresh tires, and I can just kind of play my game and see if it works.
Well, Steve, now you and MacArthur are tied for most wins of the season, both having 5 wins to your name. And I know you joined late into the season due to real life commitments. Do you have big plans for the season? Is it just glory run and enjoying the racing, or what is the plan for you?
Just going after wins. I mean, I can't make the playoffs because I'm not going to have enough races, so I'm just out here having fun. No lift. My team's name is I'm the only one on it. It's called Team No Lift. So watch out, boys.
All right, we were getting conflicting reports up here in the broadcast booth on exactly what team you were on. So glad for the clarification and much appreciated. And Steve, before I let you sign off and celebrate with the rest of the hooligans here at the Metro Ford Cup Series, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, my friend, the final send-offs of the night. Who you want to give a shout out to that helped make it happen?
Well, I started praying, which I'd never done before. So I want to thank my Lord Jesus, Savior Christ, for helping me win this race. Every time I prayed, I won. So I'm turning a leaf. Satan's leaving. Jesus is coming into my life, I think. And I want to thank my sponsor, Dr. Amy Horniman. If you have any thyroid issues, you want to lose weight, you've got insulin issues, which about 50% of the American public is insulin resistant. It's going to cause all kinds of health problems when you get older. You're going to get dementia, you're going to have heart disease, all kinds of stuff. So besides praying for Jesus, why don't you get a hold of Dr. Amy Horniman and get you fixed up so you'll live a long life before you have to go to heaven. And I want to thank my wife for all she does, and she's a big supporter of my racing, which I really appreciate. And of course, you for broadcasting and all the admins that run this thing. I really appreciate everybody's help. And don't forget, go to emetroford.com and get your new 2023 Ford ordered at MSRP price. No extra added fees or anything. You'll pay MSRP, which no other dealers are doing. And you can order it right there on the website, and we'll get it ordered for you as soon as the order banks open up, because Ford is changing the way they do business. It's going to basically be order to delivery, so don't miss out. If you order a new Ford, when it comes in, you're going to be able to make a lot of extra money if you decide to sell that baby, like $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. So get her done, emetroford.com.
Well said across the board, Steve. Congratulations, getting another win, padding those stats, and hope to have you back up here next week at Watkins Glen, my friend.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Watts will probably be up here, but I'm going to give her a hard try this week.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. And that was Steve Thompson bringing home the win here at Richmond, tying for Dwayne MacArthur, 5 wins of the season, 2 Titans, and it's always a good one. As always, on behalf of eMetro4.com, Kimball.net, Victor Lane Sports, and Dr. Amy, the Thyroid Fixer, thank you for tuning in, supporting the eMetro Ford Cup Series here at the Old Bastards Racing League. My name's been James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, and I look forward to having you at the next one. Have a great day, everybody.